Welcome back to the Fantasy Cruncher previews here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, and leave in the comments section the running back that you think is going to score the most DraftKings points this week. We'll draw one across from all the videos, so you can get up to 4 entries. If you leave a comment on the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and defense video, you can get up to 4 chances to win a week's subscription to Fantasy Cruncher Pro. Running back this week's interesting. Let's get to it. So again, only 11 games. We had three entertaining games on Thanksgiving. Even the night game, which didn't look to be all that entertaining, finally got to be entertaining towards the end. So we talked about in the quarterback section how everyone's priced down, and that gives us an opportunity here at the running back position to pay for Christian McCaffrey. He is a bloody fortune. He's 11,000 on FanDuel. He's 10.5 on DraftKings, but he's just so good. He's put up over 100 yards from scrimmage in every game other than when he's facing that elite Tampa run defense. And he gets a dream matchup against the Washington Redskins this week. I have not been shoving him in recently, but this week I think it's really a good week to shove him in. It's just hard for me not to see 150 from scrimmage. And if he gets 150 from scrimmage and 1 touchdown, he's going to be on that winning team. So Christian McCaffrey is a player that I'm paying up for this week. As for the rest of the expensive running backs, got to take out these Thanksgiving games first. You know, Chubb and Henry not really in the world's best spots. Aaron Jones is in a fantastic spot against the Giants, but the Packers' usage of him is so inconsistent. He's only got 2 games with over 100 yards, and most of his value early in the season was from the passing game. Last 2 weeks, he's gotten 1 combined target. And those were games they were behind and kind of needed him. They used Jamal Williams in the passing game. Devontae Adams is back. The spot's perfect. The spot is perfect. If they give him the ball 20 times, he's going to put up a big score. But I have no way to know if they're going to give him the ball 20 times. That's just a coaching staff that's super hard to trust. So Aaron Jones is a player that I'm staring at. Haven't really made my mind up yet. We talked about Leonard Fournette against that awfully good Tampa defense in the run game. Check out the wide receiver videos, though. We're not ignoring the Jaguars. Saquon against the Green Bay. That's the other factor here with this Green Bay New York Giants game, is that both teams should be able to run the ball well. But when that does happen, the clock is running, and that shortens the game. And it's hard to hit that GPP winning ceiling when both teams are running. Those running back passing points are huge, not only because you get those point or half a point per reception, but if those incomplete passes, the clock stops, and you run more plays. When you get 2 teams that can run the football, it's tough. Last week I know that worked with Tennessee and Jacksonville, but again, there were just a bunch of really, really big plays. You can't count on those. So this is Saquon's lowest price, but the total's super low. I could see it in tournaments, if you're really a bunch of tournament teams, but he's not a guy that I'm in love with. So who's that next guy I'm in love with? It's Jonathan Williams. It's funny. If you told me preseason, was I recommending him on an NFL or an XFL fantasy video first, I would have laid down some nice money on the XFL video. But here we are, back in the NFL after that rough time with the Buffalo Bills. Came out of nowhere 2 weeks ago, put up 13 for 116 last week against a pretty decent Houston run D, 26 for 104, and did some pass game work. Marlon Mack is out, and all signs are that he's going to start again. And I got to be honest, why would you send him? That touchdown run was phenomenal. He did the spin move that you do on Madden. It was incredible. He's a little more priced up on FanDuel. He's 6,800. That doesn't really still bug me, to be honest, because he's got a lot of touchdown equity. But in Tennessee, as we saw with Fournette last week, just gives up yards to everybody on the ground. The price on DraftKings is in the mid-5s. Obviously, that's a fantastic price. I assume he'll be a lot higher owned over there. But I think he's a good play everywhere. Really glad to have gotten him in some season-long teams where I was desperate for money 2 weeks ago, because right now he's going to be replacing David Johnson for me in some spots. A guy who I'm torn on is Ronald Jones. I think that Tampa game is pass-heavy, but we've seen Ronald Jones have a nice pass game work. I think I got a little more interest in him on DraftKings than I do on FanDuel. But, he's still giving up some work to Barber, but he's always nice and interesting for tournaments. As for the Pittsburgh situation, it's Benny Snell and White and Samuels. I know it's the Cleveland Browns and you're really tempted to play someone, but I just can't get there. It just 3 backs, it's splits. You got to pick the right one. Ugh, that's just tough. Another guy I do like up here who just hasn't really put it together in terms of just putting a tournament-winning game up, it's Le'Veon Bell. You know, he's been putting up a nice bunch of mediocre game logs in that 14 to 16 range, but he hasn't had the 100-yard, 2-touchdown tournament-winning performance. Draws a nice matchup here against the Bengals. Give up the 9th most points to running backs this season. I could see this one. I definitely could see this one for sure. But again, you know, what's really changed here? Not much other than a good matchup, and he hasn't hit the ceiling in good matchups before, so that's something to keep your eye on. Other things to consider here, I really like Darrell Williams. I think he's a really good option here, for sure. I think he's definitely one of the best options on the board. So he's outsnapped LaShawn McCoy in each of the last 2 weeks where they've played together. Or, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The 2 weeks they've played without Damian Williams, who's been ruled out with a ribs injury. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing for me is I want to take a note of that. Like, okay, he's outsnapped him twice. He's been in the third down role the entire time. He's gotten more red zone touches in the last game. Sure, McCoy's going to have a role, but he's also going to be way higher owned. So maybe the right play here is to go ahead and play Darrell Williams at way lower ownership. He's super cheap on every site. He is, I don't know where the hell he is. I'm going to type him up by hand. Darrell Williams, 5,400. Team total of 30. He's put up good performances before, so it's not like it's totally impossible here for him to do it again in this spot. I think it's totally possible for him to do it. So that's certainly a spot I would definitely want to be attacking here if I were you. Let's see. I think other guys I'm avoiding that other people might recommend. I'm trying to think of any good ones here. I want to give you a nice good one. Austin Eckler has had a really good role in the passing game. I could see that continuing. He's kind of like a wide receiver for 6,700. Like if we said like 12 targets. But how sustainable are those targets? I don't know. They were down a lot in that game. But I think that's something worth considering. Let's see. What else we got? You know, Todd Gurley just hasn't done anything the whole year. Really tough to go to him. Ingram and Tevin Coleman. I have no idea what's going to happen in that 49ers-Baltimore game. Just like none. I have no feel for it. I just don't know. I don't know. So that's definitely one where I'm kind of in the I don't know camp for sure. And that's always tough for me because I like try to project the game flow and have an understanding of how it's going to go. And that one, I just don't have a clue. So I'm really just kind of ignoring it and hoping it doesn't burn me. But if you've got a strong feel for one of those plays, I would definitely do it. Geis out-carried and out-snapped Adrian Peterson last week. Just an awful matchup here against Carolina. Projected total of 15. We'll get back on the Geis train before the season's over. This isn't the spot. You know, and other than that, I really don't see any other cheap options. Kenyon Drake's interesting against that Rams defense that Mark Ingram just kind of exploited, but a little bit different there. You know, they don't exactly have Lamar Jackson at quarterback to make those running holes as big, but I think that's an option if you'd like to go there as well. All right, guys, that's it for the running back preview video. Again, subscribe to the FantasyCruncher YouTube channel, hit that like button, and leave in the comments section the running back you think scores the most fantasy points this week. Check out the quarterback video, check out the wide receiver video, check out the tight end and defense video. Get yourself all ready for week 13, and we'll see you next week.